Hey y'all, welcome back. Today I'm going to cover how I make simple brackets with my Premier Plasma CNC table using the software that came with it. The software that came with it was or is Punch Via Cad 2D software. When I first learned how to run my table, I was beating my head against the wall trying to figure out how this thing worked. I watched some videos and watched them again and again and again and again and really pushed the pause button tons of times because I was trying to focus in on what he's actually clicking on while listening and putting it all together. So I'm just going to show you today, hopefully in kind of slow motion, so to speak, in comparison to what I have seen out there. Now that I've been using this, it becomes second nature. So it's real easy to go really fast, but I'm going to try to slow it down so you guys can learn, and hopefully this will be beneficial to anybody who's got that same type of software or maybe even a similar table, who's just trying to get an idea how this stuff works. Because I know myself as a fabricator, love the idea of the plasma table. And I'd seen how things could be punched out so quickly. But when I first got it, it was frustrating. It was to the point where I was almost ready to give up and sell the stupid thing. Because I thought it was stupid at that time. Because I was having some emotional kickbacks with this thing. Because I don't always like learning. But enough rambling. I'm going to show you how I make a simple bracket from a blank screen to a burnt out product on my table. And it's going to be in form of working on my dump truck. We don't really have a name for it. Maybe we should call it the Freedom Dump. I don't know. If you guys want to come up with a name, you can call it something. It's just the concrete dump truck. We need one. Tired of dump trailers. You saw on Monday's video that we welded these brackets on. Actually, you saw one bracket. This bracket keeps the side from flopping out, but the main reason I've got this on here is to assist this rigid hitch incorporated spring pin trailer accessory that will be our real latch for holding the heavy material that will be in this bed in the bed, instead of blowing this little basically alignment latch, in our case, away. So I'm going to show you how we make the plate. We'll install it, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you. All right, my first step is that I take my idea and I put it down on paper, and what goes down on paper are the critical dimensions that I need to hit. So we'll do that, and then we'll move to the computer. Okay, so once you've got your computer fired up, which I'm assuming you can get that far, I look for Punch Via Cad 2D software. I double click it and wait for the computer to think. Oh, got it up down here. So once you've got your screen up, then you've got to select your tool. First tool I'm going to select is the line tool. The line tool over here is the black tool with the two dots. I'm going to enter, my first step is that I'm going to enter 3.5, which in my case will be inches. You can change the settings, but we can go into that another time if you guys so desire. So I'm going to start clicking some lines. I'm going to draw a line that's 1.25 inches long. That'll represent my circle down here on my rough sketch. So once I've got that line, I want to put my circle in place. I'm going to go over to the circle tool with 1 point, because I want to be able to click, because this 1.25 inch line represents the distance from the tailgate surface to the center of the latch pin. This program in my case, always defaults to 2 inches. In my case, I need a hole that's going to fit a 3/4 inch pin, and I'm going to oversize that hole due to the curve. And I can show you what I mean by curve later if you hang tight. So I'm going to go 0.77, I think. That's what I'm gonna shoot for with the material that I'm using. So really, my goal is to not use a die grinder any more than I have to. So now that I've got the circle there, I'm going to take the hollow arrow. I'm going to highlight the tool or this line that I no longer need. If I left that line in here, it would code in there and it would cut there, and we don't want a cut line there. Now I just got to complete the rest of the box here. 7 1/8 is my maximum, so I think I'm just going to go 7 inches. I just enter that up on top. There's my length. Now I'm going to go back to my highlight tool because I want to get rid of that 3 1/2 inch line. Just click it, it's gone. Now if you have lines where they're overlapping like that, when you get further down the line, it'll delete them. So what I want to do is I'm just going to come off the quadrant, the top of the circle. I think I'm just going to go off, let's just do a 1/2 inch, 0.5 inches. I'm going to use that as some sort of a gauge. I'm going to go up here, I'm going to click the line. Here, I'm going to stop here for a second. I'm just going to hover over the end of the line, and when it says endpoint, I click once, and then I want to line up with the top of that, and it'll leave this dotted line all along there. And so it says along X. X is your left and right movement. So I'm just going to click that. Now I've got a line. I'm going to carry on. I'm going to run across here. I'm going to touch off this endpoint box, or box that's square. Now I'm going to connect from end to end. And now this is my basic bracket shape. Pretty simple. Delete. Now I think these corners here, I want to soften them. These won't matter, as they will be, these sharp corners down here won't matter, as they will be buried in weld. So I'm going to go over to my tool options again. I'm going to click on this one where it's got a curved line and this little light black line that shows it square, but it's got 2 dots on it. That's our radius tool. So we're going to add a radius. It defaults to 1/2 inch radius. I'm going to go to 2 inches. Oh, that looks kind of corny, so we're going to back that off to 1 inch. If this thing will cooperate, we're going to go to 1. Now that it hasn't cooperated, we got to start. I'm just going to go up here. I'm going to edit. Go under edit, and I'm going to undo fillet. Now I'm going to reselect the fillet and click on each of the lines where I want the radius. We'll do the same thing here and there. Hopefully this is so far so good. I'm trying to go slow so that it is more easily picked up on by you guys. Okay, now that as I thought about this, I'm going to take my radius tool again, and I'm going to put one on this lower corner, because this portion will actually come in contact. And this is about visualize, if you can visualize what you need. Sometimes some people will take cardboard and cut templates. And if you do that, great. If that works for you. If you're going to do that, my suggestion would be to make sure you put dimensions on that so you can kind of keep it all straight. So now once you've got your part drawn up, your next step is to save it. And if you haven't made this part, if you're not revising a part, so you're starting with a brand new part, you click Save As. I'm going to call it DT, TG for tailgate, L for latch. That's going to just be my code. It won't matter because I won't save this thing after, for a long term, because it's just a one-off part. I'm not going to run multiples. If I'm going to run multiple parts, I'm going to save them for the future. Then I put a real specific name that I can read, or anybody can read easily with a solid description. So I'm going to click Save. And then I'm going to go back up here with my cursor to File. And then I'm going to go Export. And I need to collect. Make sure the DXF is highlighted. This one, in my case, is DWG/DXF. The DXF is the key type of code. That's the key type, or the key file type that you want to have DXF. and you want to make sure your format is DXF over in your export options, which is over here on the screen. So you want to make sure you got the DXF selected. Then we're going to click OK. Now it's going to give us an option. It's going to go back. We're going to go back in here. You can see there's, do we like the file, name of the file? Yes, I do. So then I will go over here, click save. So now at this point, now that we've got the drawing made, we've got it saved and exported as a DXF, we can close this out. I'm just going to minimize it because sometimes you end up making a part twice or 3 times, depending on the variables or mistakes you make. So my next step, then once we've got this export, we've got to have some place to pick that export up and put it to get our file. So now I got to, oh my goodness, I got to look for sheet cam, which will give us, the sheet cam will give us the G code that we will need. Don't worry about the name G code right now. So once I've got sheet cam open, I'm going to go import a drawing. Then I'm going to scroll down through all my files here, and I'm going to look for the one that I'm wanting, the dump truck tailgate latch. I'll click open. And here it says you want to make sure your scaling is inches or metric, whatever you want. I like to stick with inches because that's what I drew it up as. So click OK. My drawing shows up. All these lines are connected. Nothing's white. You got yellow and red lines, which is normal. So now at this point, then we got to go down here to operations. You click on this thing here, which is a torch. So then we're going to go outside, offset. We're going to change the material type. I'm going to go to 1/4 inch 65 amp holes. 30 inches per minute works fine with my 45 amp machine. Arc in, arc out. You don't necessarily have to worry about that for right now, but I like that, so it makes a cleaner product, and you'll get to see it in a second. So once you click that, and everything should look green. It'll show you your tool paths. The arc in, there's your arc in and arc outs. Those are nice, so that way you don't end up, because whenever this thing pierces, if you don't have that, it'll kind of leave a choppy hole where it starts. So once you've got your drawing in the number of parts and pieces, in this case, we're just going to keep it simple. We're just going to make one. You go back up to File. So if you want to zoom in here, go up to File. You click on Run Post Processor. New window came up, and I'm just going to click Save. Running Post Processor, Post Processing, process completed. So then once you say it's completed, then you just click OK. Now we're just going to close this out. We want to save our changes, yes. Then we'll save it again, yes. Now we've got to open up Mach 3 Loader. This program runs the computer box, the brain box, we'll call it, for your plasma table. Okay, once you've got this open, once you have Mach 3 open, you'll see this screen. And once you got this reset button, you click it once. This will now allow us to control the machine. I've got to plug my machine in. Once you've got it plugged in, you can use the cursor arrows on your keyboard. Okay, you use your cursor arrows. These are your cursor arrows, and you can use your page up and your page down. Your cursor arrows will move it left and right, up and down the table. And you can use your page up and page down to control the torch height. I position my torch where I want my starting point to be. And I'm just going to run this left and right to make sure my piece of steel is on their square. Once I have my location, we need to go back over to the computer screen and zero things out. Now that I've got my location, and I hope the piece of steel is big enough, because I'm just eyeballing it, I'm going to go up here on Mach 3. I'm going to zero out my X, my Y, and my Z. Then once I've got the X, Y, and Z zeroed out, because that tells the torch where you want it to start in lay terms. You come back here and you go, you need to load a file. We need to load G code. And that's the code that the computer says this is where the torch or tells the torch where to go. So we're going to look for our tap file. This is one we've made. Drawing. It shows up on our screen over here. Once that's all loaded up, the next thing we need to do is make sure our torch is on, our plasma torch is on, which I need to do. That's on. It's not flashing any lights. So then all that is left is to come in here and click Start Cycle, or Cycle Start. Okay, here's our part. When I was saying kerf, that kerf is the cut line, and sometimes that kerf ends up angled like this, depending on the amount of wear in the tip. And I'm thinking with the amount of kerf or the angle that's here, it's time to replace my tip. Okay, guys, I want to try to zoom in here. I want to show you what the cut tips look like. Here's a brand new one, and if you got a brand new machine, you know what they look like. If you're wondering what kind of cut quality you get out of a tip that's washed out like this, if you look, you can see it's bigger and kind of oblong shape. I mean, almost twice as big. You're going to get, the net result is going to give you a curve like I showed you there. I showed you just a couple seconds ago. I'm going to show you what a new curve looks like. Or actually a new curve, what a curve looks like with a new tip. All right, we've got these things welded up, welded on. You can take a look. Weld the weld. I like the welds. I like the way they turned out. But net result is we got a tailgate that's not going to fall. And the next question will be, will the operator use it as per designed? But now I've got to get on to spraying this down with some Raptor liner, some bed liner, to give it a more finished look and get a little more protection from rock dings and the elements. Got to get more than just a base layer of primer and paint. So I better get to that. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked it, please smash the like button. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching. And until the next time, adventure on.